Is the newly redesigned Tesla Model 3 the electric car that you should be buying? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Up Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. After nearly 6 years on the market, Tesla has finally introduced an updated version of their popular Model 3. And for this video, we're going to go through all the major changes that Tesla has made for this new 2024 model. Some of the problems and downsides that they might have actually got wrong. And also I'm going to share some of the amazing discounts and deals that Tesla is offering on the current pre-facelifted version, and whether it makes more sense just to buy one of these or to wait and buy the new updated one. But before we get into it, remember, if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. So the first thing to know about this new facelifted Model 3 is that it really is more of a refresh as opposed to a full redesign. If we look at the pictures that Tesla has released, we can see that the Model 3 still has the same basic profile as before, and the same dimensions and overall size. But there have been some redesign changes to both the front and rear end, including on the front end where we have these brand new, more aggressive, sharper looking headlights, which give the Model 3 a sportier look than before. It does look a little bit sleeker, and it does remove the somewhat bulbous looking front end of the previous Model 3, but it's still not a huge departure from what everybody is familiar with. There are, however, some new colors, including a new gray and an ultra red color, which does look pretty sharp. More significantly perhaps, there are new wheel designs, including new 18-inch Aero wheels and also new optional 19-inch wheels. Interestingly though, Tesla has not made any changes to the electric motors or the battery pack. These are carried over from the previous model, but because the new redesign is a lot more aerodynamic than before, the electric driving range does improve by a significant amount. According to the overly optimistic WLTP rating system, the new Model 3 with the standard range rear-wheel drive version is able to travel around 513 kilometers or 344 miles on one charge. And the long-range dual-motor version is able to travel around 629 kilometers or 421 miles, which sounds really impressive, but again, these are really optimistic numbers. And if we look at the EPA numbers in North America, they should be roughly 10 to 15% lower, which means we can realistically expect roughly around 300 miles or 480 kilometers for the standard range rear-wheel drive version, or around 370 miles or nearly 600 kilometers for the dual-motor long-range version. Tesla also claims that they've made some improvements to the sound isolation, so it should have a much quieter ride. And they've also made several significant changes to the interior as well. There's a new dashboard design which eliminates the old wood trim and replaces it with a new, higher quality material that gives the interior a more premium feel. And there's also updated perforated seating material with ventilated front seats, in addition to heated front and rear seats, which is a huge upgrade that a lot of Tesla owners were waiting for quite some time. Rear seat passengers also get a new 8-inch touchscreen, which gives them separate climate controls and controls for the heated rear seats, in addition to some entertainment functions to watch videos. The large 15-inch touchscreen infotainment system up front is largely carried over from before, but Tesla does say that they have improved the brightness and the responsiveness by a little bit. There is, however, a new updated sound system with 17 speakers as opposed to 14 from before. And there's also improved Wi-Fi and Bluetooth for better connectivity and also improved microphone performance. Some of the changes, however, that Tesla has made are a little bit controversial and might not go over so well with every single Tesla buyer. For example, we still don't have a driver display behind the steering wheel, which means that everything has to be used and seen on the center touchscreen, which is not exactly ideal for every single person. And not only is there no driver display, but Tesla has even eliminated the stalks on the steering wheel, which means that even more functions have been moved onto the screen, including your drive mode selector for your drive, park, and reverse function, all of which has to be used by the touchscreen now. Now, time will tell whether owners will get used to that setup, but it certainly does sound quite frustrating, and as does the elimination of the turn signal stalks. Again, that functionality has now been moved to the steering wheel with the push of a button, which is not really ideal either. Another disappointment is that the Model 3 still doesn't have a sunshade for the glass roof, which is an area of frustration for a lot of owners, especially those that live somewhere that's extremely sunny and hot all the time. Now, I don't think anybody was expecting to see a sunshade on the refreshed Model 3, but it still would have been really nice to have. The one benefit to the cost-cutting measures and simplifying the manufacturing process of the new Model 3 means that the pricing is likely not going to change that much, if at all. Now, there's no word yet on when exactly the refreshed Model 3 is going to be launching in North America, but it should likely be sometime in the early new year. And if the pricing remains the same as before, that's going to make it a really competitive electric car with a lot of the other options that you can buy on the market. And not only is the Model 3 aggressively priced when compared to a lot of the competition, but it's also eligible for rebates and incentives, which makes the pricing even more attractive. And it seems that Tesla is really pushing that aggressive pricing because they're already offering some amazing deals and discounts on the existing 2023 Model 3s that they have in inventory, likely to prepare for the all-new versions that are going to arrive over the next few months. So let's take a look at how much money you can save by buying a current Model 3 as opposed to waiting for the brand new one. In the US, you can find rear-wheel drive standard range models that have been discounted by around $3,700, including this example for $37,490, down from $41,240. And once you add in the $7,500 tax credit, that brings the price tag down to around $30,000, which is a pretty amazing buy. And the discounts on the long-range dual motor are even better, around $5,000 from Tesla. On this example, that brings the price to around $46,120, down $5,120 from the regular price of $51,240. Which again means once you add in the $7,500 tax credit, that brings the price to under $40,000. And it's actually a very similar story in Canada where Tesla is offering some pretty amazing discounts on the existing Model 3s that are in inventory. Some 2023 rear-wheel drive Model 3s have been discounted by around $5,000, and once you add in the federal rebate of $5,000 plus provincial rebates, it's possible to get into a Model 3 for just over $40,000 Canadian. And the discounts are even better on the dual motor long range version, which are nearing almost $7,000. Such as this example here, which is listed for $60,830 instead of $67,590. Which means once you add in the rebates, you could be down to a price tag of just over $50,000. So what this all means is that with all the amazing discounts and rebates, it's possible to get into a brand new Tesla Model 3 for a very similar price to something like a Toyota Camry hybrid or Honda Accord hybrid, which is pretty incredible. So the question becomes, is it better to buy the existing 2023 Model 3 with all of the discounts, or should you wait for the brand new 2024 model with all the new changes? Well, I have to admit, even though I do like some of the changes that Tesla has made to the new Model 3, they're not exactly worth spending another $5,000 to $10,000 for. So if it were me, I would just buy the existing pre-facelifted Model 3 and save yourself a lot of money, which at the end of the day is still essentially the same car. The styling is still largely the same. You have the same touchscreen infotainment system and autopilot system, and of course you also have the same electric motors and battery. Now, even though the pricing might be attractive, buying a Tesla means that you might have to put up with certain issues which would not be a problem with other car brands. And of course, if you do have issues with your Tesla, getting these issues solved is not always that easy, thanks to their somewhat mediocre customer service and lack of service centers. And if you do have problems, usually you are stuck having them repaired by Tesla because there are very few other alternatives that are out there. Now, to be fair to the Model 3, it does seem to have better build quality and fewer issues than the rest of the Tesla lineup. And other electric cars are certainly not free of their own issues. But at least in the case of the Tesla Model 3, you know you are going to be getting a really attractive price that actually makes sense. And you're not going to be faced with extremely long waiting periods either because the availability is quite good. And you're also not going to have to deal with the traditional dealership experience. Buying a Tesla is extremely straightforward. You just order the car online for a fixed, transparent price, and there's no hassle and no games dealing with a dealership. And when you combine that with the other benefits of Tesla ownership, including access to their amazing supercharger network for charging, well, they definitely make sense for a lot of buyers. We should have a lot more information on the refresh Model 3 in the coming months, and hopefully the pricing and discounts remain just as attractive as before. But in the meantime, let me know what your thoughts are on the new Tesla Model 3. Would you now consider buying one, or would you just buy another vehicle instead? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and if you need additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.